Boro suddenly lead the playoff race, but can they navigate a Leeds United side who are having a bit of a wobble? What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video here on the channel and another episode of the Project Boro preview show, where we of course look ahead to every single Boro game, look at the opposition, preview the game, make our predictions for the team and what we think will happen. And of course, it's a big one on Tuesday night. It always is a big one when Boro and Leeds get together, and it's a huge game for both sides in the Championship at this moment in time. It's a big game for Boro. It's a game where, from our point of view, for me, it's a free hit. And I think we've put ourselves in a position where it can be a free hit, where we would love to win it. A win would be outstanding. It would be out of this world. We don't have to win it. It's not like it's do or die for our playoff hopes if we don't win it. And I think that's a really good position to be in, because in past games of this magnitude, it's felt like Boro have had to win them games. A bit like when we played Burnley and Leeds at the back end of last year. So it's good going into this game where, pressure's still on, of course it is, but there feels like there's a degree of freedom to it. More pressure on Leeds United, of course, given what's at stake for them, the form they're in, the wobble that they are having at the moment. So it's going to be a big game for both. But I am very much looking forward to it as a Boro fan, and it's the first time I think I can honestly say I've genuinely looked forward to a game at home for a long time. Obviously, I still love going, I still enjoy it, it's still a highlight of my week, but really looked forward and been excited for the next home game. It's been a while, and I think that's because a lot of Boro fans, they've felt very apathetic about this season. They felt like the season was done, and so did I at one stage, as many others have. But we're starting to believe again, and it's just giving Boro fans that little added impetus, that little spring in our step, going to the Riverside, off the back of 3 home wins in a row, and with a big rival of Leeds coming up. What a great opportunity to play them. Boro are sort of on the up, Leeds are faltering. It could prove to be an absolutely amazing occasion at the Riverside, but of course, it's still a huge one regardless. You know, Boro might find themselves back out the playoffs if results don't go our way, but if we can find a way of somehow beating this Leeds United side, that might make me genuinely believe that we will get top 6. I'm starting to get a little bit more belief, but of course when it comes to Boro, you're always very cautious and very wary, because I know it's a cliche, but it very much is the hope that kills you when it comes to Middlesbrough Football Club. But I think with the games coming up and how much tougher they are than the run we've just been on, if we can beat Leeds, or at least put in an outstanding performance and take them close, that might just give me enough to cling on to think, well, if we can do it against these, we can do it against anyone. And that might make the run-in look a little bit better for us, because there's no question from here on in, it does get tougher. And Boro have won 5 from their last 7. We deserve immense credit for that. We've been much better at home. Great performance away on Friday. But this will be a test, and make no mistake about it, even though they're having a wobble, I think it's only a wobble in relation or relative to the incredibly stupid high standards that are set at the top of the Championship. You know, 1 win in 6 doesn't sound great. They've only lost 1 of them games. The other 3 of them have been draws. So for me, I'm kind of looking at it and thinking, it's not been a great run for Leeds, but that's only because it's relative to the stupid high standard that has been set at the top and the ridiculous pace that's been set at the top of the Championship. So a slight wobble for Leeds compared to the rest of the league, it doesn't mean Leeds are bad or in terrible form. Relative to everyone else, they're still extremely good. They're just not quite at that relentless level that the top 3 have been at all season. So there's definitely reasons for Boro to be positive. There's definitely weaknesses to get at, but we cannot at any point underestimate just how fantastic this Leeds side are when they're on it. And trust me, when they're on it, they are, for me, the best side in the league by a country mile. So it depends if that Leeds United can turn up, or if Boro can take advantage and put in a performance which, under the lights at the Riverside, could more than ignite Borough's playoff hopes, and it could take the belief that's starting to grow again within the fan base, could turn that right up to 11 and really kickstart a thrilling end to the season for Boro. But firstly, let's take a look at Leeds United. Now, of course, they're not in great form. Everybody knows that. 1 win in 6. They've drew each of their last 3 games, and them draws haven't exactly been against glowing opposition either. Prior to the defeat and win, they did draw against West Brom. Obviously, they were 8 points clear, I think, after beating Sunderland and Sheffield United back-to-back. Since then, it's not been great. They drew at home to West Brom. They lost at Portsmouth. They're still imperious at Ellen Road, I would say. But of course, they conceded late against Swansea. And they failed to win at Loftus Road. And they also failed to win this weekend at Luton. So, if this was the other way around and we were going to Ellen Road, I wouldn't care what form Leeds were in. I'd be worried and I'd be massively concerned. But away from Ellen Road, they're still one of the best away sides in the league. And I guess relative, once again, to the ridiculous standard, they're still one of the best away sides in the Championship. But they have dropped points in their last 3 away games. They weren't at top sides. They've just started to struggle to keep clean sheets. They've had to make an emergency change in their goalkeeping department. Just a sign of a slight wobble with their recent form. And I don't want to say is this a good time to play Leeds, because I don't think there ever is a good time to play this Leeds side. But maybe it's the best sort of time Boro could have hoped for, to have a home game against them under the lights. But still, despite their poor recent form, they're still very, very good at home. They're still very, very good in general. They have dropped to 3rd though, and that's where a lot of the pressure will come from a Leeds point of view. They're 3rd now, 1 point behind Sheffield United. Burnley now have taken the top spot in the Championship. Leeds have had 23 wins, 13 draws, 4 defeats, so they've not lost many games at all, but you can see they've just started to let themselves down with a number of draws that they've had. They have won a few less games than Sheffield United above them and lost a couple more than Burnley too, but their attacking and defensive numbers are still incredibly strong. They've scored 79 goals this season, conceded only 28 with a stupidly ridiculous goal difference of plus 51. But, as I say, they've only won 8 away games this season, which still is really, really good. And they are 3rd in the away league table. But they're sort of in and around everyone else. You know, the top 3 are above and beyond in a different level, a different league to everyone else. So although Leeds are 3rd and just behind Burnley and Sheffield United, their away form's not massively better than quite a few sides around them. Sunderland are just as good on the road as what they are. Sheffield Wednesday aren't too far behind. Even Boro aren't a million miles behind with the amount of away results we've picked up this season. The only difference is we've lost quite a few more away games than what Leeds have, but we've almost won as many. So Leeds don't win as many away games as they would like, is my point, and they do draw a lot. So although they don't lose many away games, they also don't win as many. They do come out with points, but sometimes it's only the 1 point, and if I'm honest, don't want to spoil my prediction, but if Boro were to ensure Leeds only come away with a point from this game, I'd still be incredibly satisfied if that was the result. As for their other numbers, this is where you start to realise that, yeah, they might be in a bad run of form, but they're still an absolutely ridiculous side. Leeds are the top goal scorers in the Championship, and it's not even close. 79 goals they've got in their league campaign so far. That's exactly 2 goals a game. They're miles clear of the next best side, which is Norwich City. They're 17 goals behind Leeds with 62. Then come Boro in 3rd with 61. So even though we're right up there amongst the top goal scorers, we are 18 goals behind Leeds United. And you might think, well, maybe they're overperforming their XG. No, they're not. They're right up there for XG as well. And again, it's by a mile. They create the highest quality of chances by a mile in the league. Their XG is a massive 75. So although they have overperformed by 4, they're still miles clear of everybody else, even including their automatic promotion rivals. So they are an attacking team like no other in the Championship. You can look at other numbers. Shots on target, they're top by a mile once again. Big chances, they're top by a mile once again. They're 2nd for big chances missed, but that's probably down to just the sheer quantity of chances that they create. They're also out front with accurate passes per game. Boro not too far behind them in that metric. Interestingly though, when you look at Leeds' style of play, they are bottom of the league for accurate long balls. So they very much like to keep the ball on the floor. They've also had the most touches in the opposition's box by a mile. Boro are second in that metric, and they've also had the most corners in the Championship by a mile as well. So basically, they are a stupidly good attacking side, and your defence has to be on its absolute utmost form if you're to stand any chance against this ridiculous attacking side. They're also not too bad at the back too, and I remember when I previewed our reverse fixture, I was very much focused on Leeds' attack, but you can't also take away how good they've been at the back, and arguably their one big weakest link in their defence has been taken out the side now, which is their goalkeeper. Quite honestly, if it wasn't for the amount of howlers Meslier has dropped for Leeds this season, they'd probably have the title wrapped up already. As it happens, they don't, and this shows why their defence is still solid despite their goalkeeper letting them down on a number of occasions, because they've got the second best defence in the Championship, 28 goals conceded. Now, you might think they're second, and that's maybe not the best in the league, but they are only behind a Burnley side who are setting the most ridiculous defensive numbers I think we'll ever see in the Championship. I can't see a team having as strong of a defence as what Burnley have for the foreseeable, to be honest. The standard they've set is a joke. So being second to them is still ridiculous, and Leeds are second to them. 28 goals is all they've conceded. Still, that's better than Sheffield United. Still better than any of the other teams around them, barring Burnley. And had it not been for their goalkeeper, they probably would be down towards 20 goals, maybe even less, a little bit closer to Burnley. And that's backed up by their XG against, which is, of course, the quality of chances they give up, because they're actually better than Burnley. The Leeds have conceded less quality chances than Burnley. Now, don't get me wrong, Burnley have overperformed by an absolute miracle. I can't quite believe how much they've overperformed with the XG against they've give up. But Leeds, they're bang on, to be honest. Conceded 28 goals, XG against 27.5. That is the best in the league. So as great as they are going forward, do not forget they are also very good at the back. They don't give up much. It's mostly been down to their goalkeeper committing howlers that's conceded quite a few goals. So they are the best attack in the league by a mile. If it wasn't for Burnley being absolutely ridiculous, they'd be the best defence as well. You can also back this up by their goalkeeper having to make the least number of saves. You could also once again argue that was because Meslier just, wasn't making saves. But still, that's also massively down to how well they're defending their goal, and that's backed up by clean sheets. Again, Burnley, ridiculous, out of this world. We'll never see a record like it again. 28 clean sheets for them. That's stupid. But Leeds are second again with 21. So they're going through a bad spell, and maybe Boro have to absolutely take advantage of that, because had we be playing this Leeds side near the top of their game, you'd need a miracle, to be honest with you. That's how good they are, and I stand by, as good as Burnley's defence is, as good as Sheffield United are, and I know Leeds are third, but for me, on their day, at their full potential, they are the best team in the league by a country mile, and we have to hope that Leeds does not turn up on Tuesday, and it can continue to be the Leeds that have been a little bit charitable and have been dropping points quite a lot of late. Looking at their team, I mean, where the hell do you start? They've just got stars everywhere. They play a 4-2-3-1, as I alluded to earlier, a ridiculously intense high possession style of football. No long balls at all. They keep it on the floor. They move it around quickly. They're incredibly incisive in possession. Mass chance creators, but they're also a ridiculously good team when they lose the ball. We saw this at Ellen Road. Boro played a suicidal game at Ellen Road, and I really hope we don't do the same thing again, because we tried to go blow for blow with Leeds when it come to playing out from the back, playing possession-based football, and they just picked us off so easily. And to be honest, Boro were probably in that game if it wasn't for us stupidly trying to continue to play the same way, which was just not working. We might have had something, in that game. We might have come away from Ellen Road with something, but we handed Leeds 2 second-half goals because we played into their hands. They are so good at pressing. And Boro, thankfully, seem to have moved a little bit away from that heavy possession, playing out from the back style of football. We still do it, but we're not afraid to go long. We're not afraid to go down the channels, and I think that's something we definitely have to do up against this Leeds side on Tuesday night. We cannot play into their hands. They're good enough as it is. The last thing you want to do is give them a helping hand, and that's what Boro did at Ellen Road in the last game. So for me, you look at this team, you've got to you just need to defend as well as you possibly can and hope they commit bodies forward and try and pick them off. A bit like what we did so very well, perfectly in fact, in that EFL Cup win at the very start of the season when we won 3-0 and we all thought we were going up and we'd won the title already. That was an unbelievable performance. Anything like that and Boro will be in business, but it could equally be just like it was at Elland Road. But yeah, there's stars everywhere. You know, they've started to put Carl Darlow in goal, replacing Islan Meslier. I kind of wish they hadn't, for our sake, but they've made that change, and that's something Boro are going to have in the back of their mind. They've got a very good back four. You know, Firpo is an outstanding left back. He's actually, for a left back, one of their best creative players in the Championship. He's got the joint most assists for Leeds in the Championship with 9, so that's immense from left back. Obviously, Struijk and Rodon, two of the best centre-halves you'll get at this level. In midfield as well, Boro are going to have to be on it. And I do feel confident Hackney and Morris, with the form they're in, can really give Leeds' midfield a game, but they are up there with one of the best midfields in the league. Ampadu is a fantastic player, a Premier League player, and Tanaka's probably been pound for pound one of the best signings that any team's made in the league this season. He's so good at breaking up play. He ran the game in the reverse fixture. Once again, Boro cannot play into the hands of Leeds United, and that's why our midfield has got to be so careful with how they use the ball, how they pass the ball, where they receive the ball, and they've got to be squeaky clean in possession and not giving it away, not losing it in them really dangerous areas. And that's not even considering their attack. They've got Nonto in the middle. They could equally play Solomon in the middle. They could play Aronson there. They've just got options, unbelievable attacking options all across the front line. Solomon's a very dangerous player off the left. He'll provide Dijksteel with an immense test. But the two biggest worries, and I know it's hard to pick two worries out of this team because you could say all 11 of them are real worries, but for me, it's Dan James and Joel Pirot. Pirot up front has 15 goals this season. That's second only behind Borges Sainz. Dan James himself has 11. And Aronson, who didn't even make the starting 11 against Luton, has 9. So they've got players who can come off the bench and make an impact as well. But not only does Dan James have 11 goals from the right-hand side, he's also got 9 assists as well. That means between him and Joel Pirot, they have 41 goal contributions between them. That is absolutely bonkers. So they're the two key players you want to focus the most on. But equally, you don't want to take your eye off the others because that's only going to cause trouble as well. So again, Boro across the board are going to have to be on their game. And that leads me in to Boro's 11. Now I've got two 11s this week. One is without Neto Borges. The other is with Neto Borges because there is something I'd do differently if we had Neto Borges. Now we don't know if we'll have him yet. Carrick's presser is tomorrow or Monday when you will be probably watching this. As for the lineup without him, I've stuck with the back four because we don't have any other defensive options, and it picks itself really. Travers, Dijksteel, Howson, Rav and Illing Jr. Key battles in there, of course. Illing Jr. on the left, he's going to have to be defensively sound against Dan James, but what I've seen, I do think Illing Jr. has the strength and the recovery pace to deal with Dan James, I hope. Dijksteel against Solomon on the other side, a little bit worried about that one. Of course, with Boro's centre-halves, we have gotten a little bit fortunate of late that we've played against very direct physical sides who've played in front of Boro quite a bit. Howson and Rav are going to have to deal with a lot of pace and a lot of runners in and around them, and that does worry me a little bit. Howson's pace, his age, as good as he's been, I do worry against these sort of top attackers. He could come unstuck. Rav's also going to have to be at his utmost, and he's not played that much of late, not started either, so it's a big game for him to be dropped into as well. So I can't lie, I am a little bit concerned about our centre-backs, and of course we're going to have to be massively on it at full-back as well. Morris and Hackney though will start. They were out of this world, outstanding against Blackburn. I definitely start them two up against Tanaka and Ampadu. As for Boro's front four though, I have changed it. Now, there's a reason why I've done this. I was thinking back to the game we had earlier on in the season at Elland Road, and now I wouldn't be surprised if Boro surrendered possession in this game and tried to hit Leeds on the break. That's why I've took Iheanacho out. As great as he's been of late, he's slow. Okay, he's a slow player, and I feel like he just doesn't quite have the agility in and around that Leeds midfield, that Leeds defence to keep the ball and lay it off quickly enough. I'd rather have Finazaz in there, and I'd rather have Bergzorg and Whittaker as runners either side of him. Bergzorg, especially, I've moved to his more natural position on the left just because I think he can give us that pace in behind on the counter-attack, and we are going to, I hope, instead of trying to pass it through Leeds, we'll be trying to hoof it over the top of them, getting in behind, using the pace we have in the team. That's why I'd move Bergzorg back onto the left-hand side, and because he's on the left, I've had to move Azaz inwards, which has sacrificed Iheanacho, and of course with no Bergzorg, no Dork, I've put Whittaker on the right because I think he has warranted a start in the team, and although he might not be the paciest, he could be another player who can get in behind their fullback and give Firpo problems, because Firpo is going to be advancing forward as well, so Borough's wingers have to be very good at getting in behind and exploiting whatever space is left, with of course Tommy Conway up front. That's what I think will happen. If by some miracle Neto Borges is fit, this is what I've gone with, and it's a back five. We've seen Boro do this against some top Championship sides in the past. We've seen Boro do it against some top Premier League sides who we've played in the Cup. Did it against Leicester last season. It worked very well. This leans into what I was saying again about Boro, soaking up possession and trying to hit Leeds on the counter. I do think just with Boro's current form, I don't think Carrick will change the formation. But if it was me, just thought I'd drop this in there. If we had Borges, I probably would play with him as a left centre-back, Howson as a right centre-back, and Rav in the middle. Just block out them areas with more bodies, allowing Illing Jr. and Dyke-Steele to manage the fullbacks, manage their wingers, and if they do get beaten, they've got cover in behind with Borges and Howson covering, and I think that would cover off the attack and threat that Leeds would offer from the wide areas. It would also allow us to have that solid back three if Illing Jr. and or Dyke-Steele want to advance on the counter-attack as well. The rest picks itself. Morris and Hackney. I have sacrificed Bergzorg with the 2 10s with Azaz Whittaker in behind Conway. Don't think that'll happen, but I thought that was just a little intriguing alternative. Looking into the head-to-head then, we all know Borough's head-to-head with Leeds isn't great. Since 2010, Leeds have had our number in League and Cup. 12 wins to Borough's 5, with 5 draws in there too. So out of the 22 times we've played them, Leeds have won by far the majority and have been dominant in this game. And Boro haven't beat Leeds in any of our last 7 games. The last win that Boro got over Leeds was the 3-0 win in March 2018, the infamous Patrick Bamford hat-trick. Since then, Boro have failed to beat Leeds in League, and especially in recent games, it's been a goal fest. There's been 19 goals in the last 4 meetings between the two sides in League and Cup. Of course, Boro had that brilliant win in the EFL Cup away to Leeds at the start of this season, but in the League, that's what I was meaning. Boro have struggled to beat Leeds either at the Riverside or at Ellen Road. We should have had a point off them last season. They beat us 4-3, of course. I can't recall exactly why one of their goals might have been an offside, possibly. That was a really good game of football, a really entertaining one that Boro just unfortunately come on the wrong side of. And same in the reverse fixture that year, we lost 3-2 at Ellen Road and put in a fantastic effort in that game as well, despite being down to 10 men. So Boro always seem to up their game against Leeds, but Leeds always find a way of edging Boro out. So we'll see if that follows the same kind of script on Tuesday night. Finishing with my prediction. Now, down to Boro's great form of late and the position we found ourselves in, I actually feel like we can afford to draw this game, and I would take that. Yeah, we might get overtaken by one of the teams behind us, maybe even 2, but we've gotten past and gotten by probably one of the toughest opposition sides we could face, and we've not been beat. I think it's key in this running that Boro just don't get beat. Just keep picking up points, keep things ticking over. If we can't win, do not lose. So we want to win every game, and don't get me wrong, a win here could absolutely propel Boro to being the favourites in the playoff race for all we know. It really could turn things around if Boro were to win and our rivals were to drop points again. It could be a dream night, a real, turning point for the playoff race for Boro. But I'd still take a draw. That's what I'm going with. And of course, it wouldn't be Boro Leeds without it being an absolute goal fest as well. I'm going to go Boro 2, Leeds 2. And I think they will draw again, as they have been doing a lot lately. And Boro will take a point away, which I think will be a better point for us, a much better point for us than it would be for Leeds. and I honestly would take it. But let me know your thoughts, feelings and predictions in the comment section below, whether you're a Boro fan, Leeds fan, neutral or otherwise. And as always, if you've enjoyed the content and you're not subscribed already, do subscribe to the channel. We review and preview every single Boro game here on the YouTube channel. But as I say, comment below your thoughts on the game and what you're expecting, your predictions, the result, etc. And as always, if you'd rather listen to these on the go, you can do via the link tree in the description of this video, which will link you off to all my social media and all of the podcast providers to which these episodes are uploaded to, so you can listen to them on the go. And if you do head over there, give me a follow on TikTok and X as well if you wish. But until next time, I'll be back on Wednesday to review whatever happens at the Riverside. Fingers crossed it will be one of them special Riverside nights under the lights. But until then, do take care, and I'll see you all in the next one.